This video is over the quiz from Unit 5, just problems 1 and 2. They are the same topic. They both deal with the mean value theorem. So number 1 asks you to find where is the particle's instantaneous velocity the same as its average velocity. So on number 1, instantaneous velocity is the same thing as the first derivative of position, and number 1, you are given that. You don't have to find that. So the velocity is the 3t squared minus 2t minus 1. And anytime you see just plain velocity, instantaneous is implied. Average velocity is where you take the slope, just a good old-fashioned slope, of the position function. So remember, if you ever see the word average, that is never, never, never involving derivative. So average velocity, I need to find what the position function was. So if you integrate velocity, you will get position. So I'm going to integrate 3t squared minus 2t minus 1. That is add 1 to the power and divide. Add 1 to the power and divide. You can make that t squared. The antiderivative of minus 1 would be minus t. And then because I have no bounds, I'm going to throw in that plus c. You are given a point that is on the position function. You were told that when time is 2, the position is 5. Knowing that, I can plug that in and figure out what c is. So if you plug in 2 for all the t's, and then you're going to set it equal to the position, which you're told is 5. If you solve that for c, you should get 3. So your position function then, you have now found what that constant is. So to apply the mean value theorem to that, I need to set those equal to each other. All right, so I'm going to do the average velocity, which is just like slope. I'm going to take the position function, And when you take your position function and plug in 3, you get 18. Position function, plug in 0, you get 3. So your average velocity is 5. And I'm going to set that equal to the instantaneous velocity. All right, here's your instantaneous velocity. This is what you were given. All right, set those equal, and you want to solve for t. So because you can use a calculator on anything, I would probably move the 5 over, graph this, and look to see where this graph hits the x-axis. Make your window between 0 and 3. And the calculator should tell you it's about 1.786. So remember that we're still, if we have to round anything, we're going to round 3 decimal places. Question 2 is very much the same idea. It is that mean value theorem. So you are really asked to find, where does the instantaneous velocity, okay, this is number 2. Where does the instantaneous velocity, okay, so that's the derivative, where does that equal the average velocity? And then you're given bounds to use. I would probably leave the left side alone, and I would go to clean this up. So if you plug in 3 pi over 2 into your function, you should get the square root of 2 over 2. Plug in pi over 2 into your function, you also get the square root of 2 over 2. This denominator, when I subtract those, I'm going to get 2 pi over 2, which would simplify to just pi. All right, so if I'm going to solve this for x, this right side here has turned into 0 over pi, or just 0. If you move the half over, if you times both sides by 2, you are still getting 0. So you are really looking for, where does the cosine x over 2, where does that equal 0? Again, I would graph this using the window that they have given you. Look for where that is equal to 0, and it should be at pi. And you all remember to keep your calculator in radians for the entire AP exam. So that's the topic of the mean value theorem that goes with number 1 and number 2 on quiz for Unit 5.